For years, players have been asking, what if we had a true Classic Plus? Not another seasonal experiment, not a retail system hidden underneath old textures and talent trees, but a real continuation of that vanilla World of Warcraft experience. And every time the conversation comes up, players list out universal mechanics we want. New talent trees, raid sizes, new zones, new dungeons, new races, no shards, no layers. These are then usually followed up with more hotly debated systems like world buffs, group finders, pet battles, achievements, currencies, honor system, XP rates, cross-faction, and paladin for horde and shaman for alliance, which we can all argue until the Tauren come home. But I think there's a deeper question underneath all of this. Do players actually know what made Classic WoW feel special in the first place? Because honestly, I don't think most people reflect on this, and I'm not even sure Blizzard understands this either. Let me break it down like this. Vanilla WoW is almost like a language. A native speaker can instantly tell when a sentence sounds wrong, even if all the grammar rules are technically correct. Something feels artificial, forced, soulless. And that's exactly what will happen if Blizzard tries to create Classic Plus by copying mechanics instead of understanding the philosophy. The magic of vanilla was never just the mechanics themselves. There was an expression of a deeper philosophy, a philosophy that treated Azeroth like a world first and a game second. I feel like I'm watching the online community get bogged down with content ideas and not registering how vanilla WoW made us feel. And that's what I think needs to shine through. In retail right now, while I level a brand new character, I can take on a horde of enemies at once. I'm even soloing open world party content using my simple rotation and no cooldowns. That does not feel good in the long run. I have no challenge, I have no connection, and everyone calls me champion. All these quests are grouped in the same areas, everything is highlighted, and I don't have to read a single quest. There's no mystery, there's no thinking. The classic feeling we're looking for, I think, is just being some guy in the world. If I take on too many mobs, I have to run or die. Having another player there to help you is meaningful. Fights can actually get tough. Party content is for parties. And there's a sense of danger if you mess up. You have to read quest text to figure out where things are or where to go. You feel a sense of accomplishment for doing stuff. There's mystery and rumors, and when epic mounts were epic, and being awestruck when you saw that player in a capital city decked out in crazy gear. This is what I think we are intrinsically seeking Blizzard to bring back to us. This philosophy. A grittier version of WoW. A WoW that demands more of our faculties. New content will just get boring if we aren't able to capture that magical philosophy. Strangely enough, one of the best modern examples of this philosophy didn't come from Blizzard at all. It came from a private server. Turtle WoW was fascinating because in many ways it changed vanilla World of Warcraft far better than Blizzard ever did with official Classic or Season of Discovery. It added new zones, new quest lines, new dungeons, new races, new class adjustments, and entirely new systems. And yet, despite all of that, many players still say Turtle WoW felt more authentic to Warcraft than retail or Season of Discovery. This creates an interesting contradiction, because what players are actually craving was never the mechanics alone. They're craving that feeling. We went through this whole rigmarole in the past with no changes.
I'm curious. No changes. That's what I think about it.
When Blizzard announced Classic was coming, the debate started. The crux of the argument was players did not trust Blizzard to implement new systems to make Vanilla WoW better. So it was safer to have no changes at all. But look where we are at the beginning of this year. Classic rooms are practically empty, and WoW Plus servers were full before shutdowns. If players supposedly wanted vanilla preserved exactly as it was, why did so many people embrace servers that changed so much? Turtle WoW understood something Blizzard slowly forgot over the years. The world itself is the main character, not the player's character. Modern MMORPGs are often designed like content delivery systems. Queue up, consume rewards, move efficiently to the next objective. Convenience becomes the highest priority. Faster travel, automated grouping, streamlined progression, and constant stimulation. But Vanilla WoW operated on an entirely different philosophy. It understood that friction creates immersion. Travel mattered because distance mattered. Dangerous zones mattered because the world wasn't perfectly scaled around the player. Downtime mattered because it allowed players to simply exist inside of Azeroth. And inconvenience served a purpose. Long flight paths, slow leveling, traveling to dungeons, asking for help. These things sound terrible on paper, but psychologically, they create investment. The more time players spent inhabiting the world, the more real the world began to feel. And Turtle WoW protected that feeling carefully. It didn't try to replace Azeroth, it expanded it. And that distinction matters enormously. Retail WoW grows vertically. Every expansion resets progression. Old zones become irrelevant. Old gear becomes worthless. Entire continents become abandoned museums players rarely visit. But Turtle followed a much more classic philosophy. Its expansions were horizontal. They added hidden quest hubs, expanded forgotten regions, created side stories, added optional exploration content, and really leaned on the RPG elements. Role-playing. Instead of invalidating the old world, it made the world feel larger. And maybe most importantly, Turtle WoW understood that MMORPGs survive on social dependency. Vanilla WoW forced players to rely on each other. You needed help. Your server became a real social ecosystem. Players built reputations. Rivalries formed naturally, and certain names became recognizable. But modern MMO design slowly dismantled this structure in the name of convenience. Sharding and layers made the world feel empty. Automated dungeon finders makes the world feel small. Solo-focused leveling design makes the world feel lonely. The game becomes more convenient, but also forgettable. The same philosophy needs to extend into the class design. Modern MMORPG design often prioritizes symmetry and efficiency. When every class becomes equally streamlined, they start losing personality. Vanilla understood that flaws create identity. Weaknesses create cooperation. Should every class spec have the exact same numbers on DPS meters or healing meters? No, I don't think so. But they should have a spot in the party. There should be pros and cons. Maybe the most important thing Turtle WoW brought back was mystery. Modern online games are solved almost immediately. Data mined before released, optimized before players even log in. Every mechanic becomes efficiency math. But Vanilla WoW originally thrived on uncertainty. Hidden quests, strange locations, dangerous areas, players stumbled into accidentally, and rumors. Azeroth felt mysterious because players didn't fully understand it yet. Turtle was able to recreate some of that feeling by adding content into the world that would spark imagination. You weren't able to follow a guide on day one of new content. Granted, they seem to be more in control of their content and seem to have agreements with add-on developers not to patch their quest helpers and databases for a few months after they release some new stuff. But will a Classic Plus era be able to harness the mysteries that they add to the game by controlling their content releases and stifling systems that want to make everything convenient to players? I think that's the real challenge Blizzard will face when they create the actual Classic Plus realms. The hard part isn't designing new content. The hard part is resisting modern design instincts. Because the easiest thing in the world is adding convenience. Faster leveling, faster travel, faster queues, faster rewards. But every convenience slowly chips away at the illusion that Azeroth is a living world. And once that illusion disappears, the magic disappears with it. The tricky part of all this is Blizzard needs to be careful with the unintended consequences their systems might create once they interact with the player base. Because players themselves will always optimize around systems in ways developers don't fully expect. A feature might sound harmless on paper, but completely change player behavior socially. Achievements are a perfect example of this. Originally, achievements were meant to be a fun milestone, little records of your adventures. But once players started using achievement scores as requirements for raids and dungeon groups, they stopped being personal accomplishments and became a social gatekeeping tool. Suddenly, players weren't just proving they could do content, they were proving they had already done it before being allowed to participate at all. That created a dangerous feedback loop where systems designed for engagement slowly start discouraging organic social interaction. That's why Classic Plus can't just ask, is this feature good? It also has to ask, how can players weaponize or abuse this over time? Turtle WoW proves something incredibly important. Players don't actually want vanilla preserved perfectly forever. They want the feeling vanilla created. The feeling of danger, community, discovery, scale, slowness, dependence. As players, we need to fight the urge of wanting the upper hand of the knowledge we have gathered, knowing exactly where things are, the optimal routes, the optimal builds, the optimal gear. And before people start calling me a private server fanboy, no, I don't think Turtle WoW was perfect either. I have plenty of criticisms of private servers. But ignoring what they got right would honestly be missing the point entirely. As the children yearn for the mines, we yearn for Azeroth to feel alive again. And that feeling was never created by mechanics alone. It was created by a philosophy that Blizzard slowly abandoned over the years, but one that us as players are clearly searching for. If you think I'm onto something here, like the video and let me know in the comments. If you disagree, let's have a chat. What do you want to see in Classic Plus? If you want to hear my wish list, I could go on about this stuff for hours, and maybe I will drop a separate video of my wish list and really get this blood sport going. Or you can hit me up on my stream on Twitch. I stream every Monday through Saturday nights. Links below. If not, I'll see you guys in Classic Plus.